This is No Agenda.
So Mimi came up with an interesting no agenda thought, which relates to this. And as soon as she said it, I said, oh, obviously. Talking about locking people up and all this other sort of thing. If you remember, One Flew Over This Cuckoo's Nest and Ken Kesey. Well, Ken Kesey and a lot of other people were like always paranoid about getting locked up for no apparent reason or because they were, a little nutty. So they all moved to Oregon because Oregon has the most liberal laws. It's almost impossible to get somebody locked up. Oregon is not only a state where you have, even though there's some evidence this is changing, but for the most part it's not. You can't just lock people up. Oregon's kind of a bunch of, as she put it, a bunch of old hippies. In fact, I know a couple of them that have moved up there, and they essentially would be defined as old, unreconstructed hippies living in Oregon. And they are pushing back against the FBI opening more offices. They're pushing back against the TSA doing this and that. They're pushing back. So, does anybody think maybe setting up the Christmas bomber in Oregon of all places.
Very good point.
May have something to do with it. And also, there was the Intel engineer in Oregon that went to take Al-Qaeda training, back after September 11th. There's a lot of pushing back against Oregon by the government because they want to get Oregon on board, refuses to do anything.
Makes so much sense. Of course, Oregon.
So I am predicting, I'm putting on the prediction list that Oregon can be a continuous target of the government. With, in other words, more nutballs will be showing up in Oregon, supposedly. Like the Christmas bomber. She also pointed out the meme that, if you haven't noticed, Christmas is being used to associate with terrorism. You had the crotch bomber was on Christmas. This last Christmas was the Christmas tree bomber in Oregon, and the shoe bomber was over a Christmas situation. So Christmas seems to be an associated thing. While I was discussing this with her, I forgot to mention on the show that Montana, another one of these states out west that feels that they should do things their own way, has been passing laws left and right. It's getting no coverage whatsoever by the mainstream media, but they're passing a number of laws which are designed to turn the federal trumps the state idea on its head. By making it so that the local county has more authority than the state government, and the state government has more authority than the federal government. And they're actually passing laws along these lines to try to, I guess, to get a Supreme Court case on nullification and 10th Amendment specifically.
I think we're going to see some Al-Qaeda terrorism pop up there in Montana. What do you think, John?
I would guess so.
Okay, well, if that happens, wow. Then I think that's almost inconclusive, almost conclusive proof.
Well, I think we don't even need the proof, but the Oregon thing is something worth watching because that just seems to be like the high-profile area, and I guess it has a lot to do with the fact that Oregon is just telling the feds to get lost.